inspired by the previous speakers, particularly Julia Ward Howe. I was not always an anti-war activist. It was Hiroshima that really woke me up. I was so profoundly moved by the tragedy that we caused at Hiroshima that I literally decided, that my issue in life was to stop war. And now, we live now in an empire in the United States, controlled by the global corporations, and their only interest is in profit. And they will do anything to hold this power over us. And I think that, we live in a really fascism. And what disturbs me the most is what we're doing globally. The suffering of the women in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Pakistan, Yemen, all over the world. We see how the empire is plunging ahead to control them. And the way they control us, of course, is by sowing the culture of greed. That greed, to have everything we want when we want it, is the only thing that results in happiness. And if you've had a chance to see the film or read the book by Jeremy Scahill, Dirty Wars, very important film about our secret army that is controlling things in Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen. And as it plunders on, is a very disturbing thing. And all we have left, I think, for us is our stories and our conscience. So that we won't be obedient slaves to the empire. And the pharmaceutical companies, I think, profit deeply by this because they put everybody on medications so that we don't feel or experience what is really happening to us. And we know that they're doing this now in the areas of the world that we're trying to control with the drones. I think it was Paki who told us when they went to Pakistan, so many of the women on the ground, the only way they could tolerate the drones was because they were on medication that we were giving to them, and our tax dollars pay for that. And I think the food industry also keeps us addicted to their sugar and oils that keep us, many, in a kind of condition we don't want to be in. And the entertainment industry is also sponsored by the global corporations. That the only important thing is to be happy and laugh. And, I was showing Dirty Wars, I think a week ago at Forbes Library, and before I got in, the group using the room was a laughing class. And all I could think of is, as the empire, Rome, they fiddled, and we learned to laugh. So I think our stories are very important. And I think that we're kept isolated by one another, so that we don't come together and talk. You know, I think of the introduction, the Westover, that was a group. It was the Women Against the Vietnam War. And the Raging Grannies, they keep the spirits lifted and bring the message by the words and their music. And I think that our Shut It Down Affinity group, a group of older women, we come together and we need a lot of creativity. We need new ways of thinking to begin to expose the empire and how to resist it. And we can do that only in groups, I think, where we trust one another and build up a real affinity group and can hear one another. And I think the culture keeps us isolated. You know, I think that internet does that. And I'm not sure how cell phones will play into this. You know, are you talking with people, you know, are you just texting schedules, or are you really talking about what you're feeling and thinking, and are you talking the truth? I think that in fascism, I feel the only response I can think is to try to take control of myself. And I'm trying to do my little tiny bit to at least experience what my grandchildren are perhaps going to experience with the climate change. And I try to keep my thermostat down, but not very low, and to eat local produce only, because I feel that I don't want to put any more carbon in the atmosphere with my produce brought to me from California and Florida, Mexico, raised by slave labor. There are more people in slave agriculture. They decimated all of the farmers' unions, working with these pesticides that means to grow our food, and they're not paying very much. And the food is shipped across the country, and it's pesticide-causing food. When I was a child, almost no one had cancer. And I think that cancer is a modern disease caused by the culture. And I think that I don't use air travel anymore. If I go any place for a great distance, I go by train. But I try to live in my community. I try to walk where I can and not use my car. I think that oil, has been very addictive, and we do much more traveling by car than we really need to. We don't organize our time. And I remember when I first was trying to do this about 12 years ago, I thought, well, I'll go one day a week without my car. And I felt that was easy. And then, you just had to think through things a little more carefully. And then I'll do 2 days a week without my car. And then I found I was going a week without using my car. So that it means organizing. And I get, lots of inspiration from other people's ideas. And we get them, I'm on internet, and my son even gave me an iPod. And I'm learning to use that, and I find it very nice. I can sit, more comfortably and read, what Amy Goodman has written. And I feel, and Malaya Joy, she is a woman that in our technology that we're privileged to read and hear what she's thinking. And I find the anti-war coalition is very good on the issues today. And Bruce Gagnon and Chris Hedges. And Angela Davis this week on Democracy Now! How many of you listen to Democracy Now! Regularly? Great, great, great. I'm speaking to the choir. But I loved it when Amy asked her, what gives you hope? And she said, hope comes from action. So I want to say, get yourself organized and get out there and resist the empire. Do something. I think that Lois Ahrens is a good model for us, a woman who became involved in what was going on in the prisons, and she set up the real cost of prisons, and she acts on it. She's become really the spokesperson in this area, I feel, for the issue of prisons. And so let's, come together and try to build, I read what the politicians want for the future of Northampton, and they keep talking about growth. And I want to say, let's make Northampton a sustainable community. I'd like to see solar panels on all of the municipal buildings, including the schools. And I think that I'd like to see better public transportation. And I would like to see more help given for people who have problems, and that we could be more aware and try to help one another and begin to be prepared for what we're facing, so that we all can live right here together helping one another, because I think we have a lot to learn from each other. That we, I, just so appreciative of a lot of work that is going on in public education. My daughter is an elementary school teacher, and she's very involved now in the Northeast Foundation Responsive Classroom, where they're creating a community in the elementary schools so that it's not a competitive situation, but a cooperative. And to see, the results in the children, how they really care for one another is possible. So that, I think we have to try to figure out how we can walk the talk and find the solutions together. Thank you.